This Friday, Notre Dame women's soccer will continue their postseason run when they take on Santa Clara in South Bend as part of the South Bend regional side of the tournament. Notre Dame eased past Omaha with a 5-0 scoreline in round one, but face a much tougher task than the Broncos, who have become one of the sport's blue bloods over the last 20 years. The Broncos made a College Cup run in 2021, and in 2020 won the entire thing with a stunning upset over Florida State. The Broncos are a team that are built for tournament play. Each of those last 2 years, they weren't seeded particularly highly, but they found the right combination of goals and experience when it mattered most to advance. These are, veteran teams led by veteran leaders. But for this Santa Clara team, perhaps the task will be a little bit more difficult than most, so they won't have Kelsey Turnbow, one of their leading players in that 2021-2020 campaigns, a top goal scorer. And this Santa Clara team is not for a short of offensive threats, thanks to Izzy D'Aquila, but they don't have that secondary threat. Notre Dame will look to shut down Izzy D'Aquila, and if they can do that, Santa Clara doesn't have much hope of getting forward and really, having a natural goal-scoring poacher up front. But that's a hypothetical for once the game starts. What we know will be a problem is the weather, because in South Bend right now, well, the weather, who knows if it'll hold, but it's looking absolutely brutal. Temperatures currently hover around 20 degrees. The snow is falling. No one knows if the snow will continue falling, but they just postponed the first game of the evening, Michigan State versus TCU, in light of it. So Notre Dame, if you see the snow, you've got to be delighted. You want to get this game underway, because Notre Dame is, in snow weather, in winter weather, one of the best teams really in the country. Over the last 20 years, Notre Dame is 47-2-1 at home in November, a record that's just about unmatched by anybody. They're a team that can really hurt you in these winter months because they're so used to playing in that climate. And those two losses, Michigan, Cincinnati, Midwestern teams, none of those losses came until before 2003, which, for context, Corbin Albert, who you're seeing now as one of the best players in the country, she wasn't alive when those wins happened. So if you're Notre Dame, you are defending a record that's one of the country's best, and you are playing a team that likely hasn't played in these conditions all year. But moving to Notre Dame in terms of what they bring to the table, in terms of outside of a climbability weather. Corbin Albert, what else can you say other than she is one of the best players in the country, probably the best sophomore in the country, and the likely current favorite for the Matt Kerman Award. 14 goals, 3 of which came against Florida State in the ACC semifinals just a few weeks ago, all 3 of which were absolutely spectacular. She leads the team in successful dribbles, and most importantly, she leads the team in expected assists, because you look at an attacking midfielder and you look at her as a goal scorer and you think, oh, well, she's kind of one-dimensional. She can shoot the ball, she can score the ball, which is nice, but it doesn't tell the whole story. She's a player that can create for her teammates as well, and those through balls to Olivia Wingate, to Maddie Mercado, are going to be absolutely incredible. And on the note of Wingate, you see here, 13 goals, 5 assists. You think she's the traditional poacher forward. You have Albert as the creator, Wingate as the finisher. But that's not the case either. Wingate can get her teammates involved. You see she's tied for the lead in key passes. She can create chances. She brings that graduate student experience to the table, and really is kind of the player that Notre Dame will look to be as a leader if they get backed up against a wall, a player who's been there before. And now on to Santa Clara. You see here, their formation is a bit unique in college soccer. Usually most teams play some variation of a back four or a 4-3-3. Santa Clara comes out in a 3-5-2, which, I think for Notre Dame especially is interesting, because Notre Dame also plays a 3-5-2. So how these matchups occur are going to be really what you want to watch, because you see here, when those wingbacks push up, which Santa Clara like to have them do, and Notre Dame likes to have them do, there's a lot of space to be exploited in these half spaces. When these positions get fluid, it's difficult to keep a structure in this 3-5-2. When you're Notre Dame, you're trying to wide the pitch. You're trying to bring the game to an expansive level. You open up space for both yourself and your opposition. So who's going to exploit it? Look for Alyssa Borgios and Colby Barnett on these wingbacks to be 2 of the possibly best players in the field. Barnett and Borgios lead Santa Clara in basically every chance creation stat there is. Key passes, chance created, assists, expected assists, they're all up there. But Notre Dame, they know against their own defense, Corbin Albert is who you want to break down that defense. You see her little nifty trick with the ball, puts it top corner. That's what she does. Notre Dame, what really stands out about this team is their ability to break down deep blocks with the long shot. Omaha came out with their identity known. They were going to play 4 at the back, 5 in the midfield, and have them play in a compact line. And Albert just dances around them. You have 8 defenders behind the ball right there. 3 in the midfield, 4 in the defense, and you see there, I think that's 9 defenders behind the ball. You can't stop it, though, if they're going to shoot it from 20 yards and they're going to get in the net. Albert especially, I think she has 14 goals on just over 5 expected goals, which when you think about, how much the ball is supposed to go in when you're shooting it from 30 yards away, and, the odds the ball actually does go in, not exactly high. Izzy D'Aquila leading the line for the Broncos. You see here, she's just a player that is absolutely, when she's on her game, unstoppable. She leads all players currently rating in the tournament in goals this season. She's got 50 goals on her career, and she's a player that's just so dynamic for her size. She's only 5'7", but what stands out the most about her is her ability in the air. She has over 250 aerial challenges won this year, compared to just 6'5" for anyone else in the Santa Clara roster. If Notre Dame wants to win this game, they're going to need to shut down D'Aquila. I'm JJ Post for NDTV. Back to the desk.